Hello everyone, Richard Evans here with another installment of Remote Production Tools designed to help you reach your audience during this COVID-19 outbreak. Now I hope that you're all staying safe and taking proper precautions. Now this particular video may be a review for some Tricaster users as I'm going to go over how to stream your broadcast online. And in this environment, this feature is going to be the most effective way to communicate with your audience. Now there are tons of different content delivery networks or CDNs available to help distribute your content online like Facebook, YouTube, etc. Now while we are social distancing from each other in our homes, we can still produce video through these services to bring us together. So let's take a look. Alright, so this is the Tricaster Tc1 interface. So the first thing I want to show you is where you can go to configure what video feed will be going out to your streaming encoders. Now all of our Tricaster systems now have two streaming encoders on them, so you can send out separate feeds if you want to. So to configure that, we'll go to the program output window here and click on this gear icon on the bottom right, and this will bring up the output configuration tab. So on the output side of things, you'll see that I have my mixes 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are going to be your hardware and NDI outputs. And then beneath those, you have your streaming encoder number 1 and 2 here at the bottom. Now, what you'll end up having to do is you'll have to have the streaming encoder echo what you're doing on one of these mixes. So you could choose from any of the 4 mixes above them, but it will be basically just echoing what you're doing up here. And then same thing on the audio side of things. You can use either the master audio or send out an aux send to that as well. So you can either have your encoders be assigned to the exact same source, and the reason why you might have to do that is if you're streaming to one particular CDN that has a specific encoding settings, you might want to have one encoder go to with specific settings, and then encoder number 2 going to separate settings. So give it the same feed if you want. It's just depending on your situation. Or you can have them be completely different mixes. So you can have one broadcast going out to one CDN and have a completely different broadcast going out, just depending on the content that you have coming out of it. So that'd be perfect if you have like, say like a sign language interpreter, etc., or just another feed that will be going out to those. So now from here, once you have that set up and configured, we'll go to the top of the screen over here and click on the gear icon next to Stream and Encode. All right, now this panel here, you're going to see, right now I only have the one source, which is my Facebook profile in here. But let's go ahead and start to fill these up with different CDNs. So CDNs are going to be your content delivery networks, so say things like YouTube, Facebook, etc. And on this drop down here where it says new preset, these are the included presets for different streaming providers. So plugins for, say, Microsoft Azure, Wowza, Ustream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. The list kind of goes on and on down the list here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to fill this up with a few other things here. So I'm going to just put in YouTube, for example, and I'm going to close that for the time being. And then also we can put another iteration of Facebook in here as well if we needed to. All right, now let me uncheck those. So now I have 3 different feeds to go through here. So now let's say that I want to have my Facebook plugin configured for a certain page. So what I can do is I can click on this gear icon on the right next to that, and that will open up the panel for Facebook. So from here, this is where I've gone to set up my Tuesday tutorials, etc. So what it'll allow you to do is you can log into your Facebook page from here and then decide which page you actually want to stream to. So like for example, I'm logged into my account, so it can go to either my personal page or to the New Tech page or whatever other pages that I have. And then you can also add your titles and your descriptions in here as well. Now that's specifically for this particular Facebook plugin. So each one of these plugins are going to look a little bit different. So like for example, if I click on this configuration for YouTube, this is going to look a little bit different because it's just going to, you have to set up events on the YouTube side of things, etc. So I won't go into all the details of each and every one of these particular CDNs, but just to give you an idea that this is how you would have these set up. So this is the easiest way to get these out to content delivery networks is going to be using these plugins. Now, if for some reason, if I click on this drop down, there is a CDN that you're typically using that doesn't appear on this list or that you want to use, that's not a problem. All you have to do is go to the bottom of the screen here and click on Custom Configuration, and that will open up kind of the old school way of being able to stream out to a content delivery network. So what that would require of you is the server address, which typically is just going to be an RTMP feed, and then also your stream ID, and then the username and password. So you can type these in here manually, which can be kind of complicated, and whenever I've tried to do it, I've always messed up like one letter or something like that. So the easiest way to do it is within content delivery networks that aren't on that list. Most of those sites will be able to supply you with an XML file, which will have all of that information already in it. So all you would have to do is just download that from your content delivery network, and then you can load it into the Tricaster by clicking on Account Settings, this Import Settings button here. And then you can navigate to wherever you've downloaded that file and load an XML file, and then that will populate all this information in here for you so you don't have to type it out, making things a lot easier. Okay, so now I have these four different sites here. This is for example. You can load this up with as many as your bandwidth can take, etc. You can stream to many different places at one time. But what we'll do is I'm going to put a checkbox next to these right here, and then I'm going to have this other Facebook feed be on my secondary encoder. So that way when I click stream, it will send out these feeds to their respective locations. Now, if you needed to go through and to configure the streaming encoder for specific sites, like for example on that custom side of things, if say you needed to have a specific resolution sending out for that, you can click on this gear icon here on number 1 to open up the encoding settings for your streaming encoder number 1. Now, kind of going down the list here, the top here, you'll see that there's this preset for low, medium, and high. And whenever I click on those, you'll see that that will take the resolution down and also change the bit rates, etc. And that's kind of just up to you how you want to send that out. These are just presets to help you out with that. You can also just have it match the session that you're in. But if I go beneath that on the video side of things, if you need to go through and be a little bit more detailed, like say that you want to send out a feed as a square resolution, so it'll be like 4:3 kind of thing, whatever, something like that. You can go through here and change that. So for example, I can make this 1080 by 1080 if I wanted to. So you can definitely do some customization in here. Also choose the codec that you want to use. Also adjust your bit rates, etc. Frame rates can be adjusted from here to the streaming. Now this won't affect the Tricaster physical streaming recording configuration. That's all going to remain the same. Same thing if you were sending a physical output like an SDI signal to a projector, for example. That's not going to change any of that. This is only going to change what's going on the streaming encoder. You can also change your audio bit rate from here and determine if you want it to be in a stereo or in a quad channel format, which is pretty awesome. Now this is if you want to get really detailed. If you just want to do some basic streaming, easiest thing to do is just use these presets. So you can just click on high or session, for example, and then that will just adjust that accordingly. All right. And same thing, if you wanted to configure your streaming encoder number 2 a specific way, just click on that gear icon and do the same thing. Just use that from there, which makes it pretty dang easy. So then you just go to the top of the screen here and click on Stream and Encode. And then once that countdown clock starts moving, then you know that you are streaming out to all of those different platforms at one time. So again, this feature is going to be vital to delivering your message to your audiences during these unprecedented times. So again, I hope you all stay safe and keep posting for more videos like this for remote production tools.